The United Kingdom has entered an unprecedented chapter as Northern Ireland stands at the epicenter of a storm that has shaken the very foundation of Westminster's authority. It began with the collapse of several migrant housing facilities across Northern Ireland, but quickly evolved into a nationwide reckoning. More than 100,000 citizens poured into the streets as flames rose above towns once known for quiet streets and ancient stone bridges. The images from Ballymena and Belfast did not merely depict unrest. They reflected the ignition of a movement born from frustration, fear, and a deep sense of betrayal. The spark came when local reports confirmed that two 14-year-old boys were charged with attempted rape, read their charges through a Romanian interpreter, and became symbols of what many saw as a system gone blind. Within hours, the story spread through homes, pubs, and phones across Britain, and the outrage became uncontainable. The streets of Belfast, Derry, and Portadown transformed into lines of confrontation as police struggled to contain a rising tide of protesters chanting for change. While the streets burned, Westminster remained quiet. Prime Minister Keir Starmer dismissed the turmoil as racism, a statement that struck the public like ice. In his refusal to address local safety concerns, London sent not empathy but administrative replies. For the people of Northern Ireland, it was not just neglect, it was abandonment. Members of Parliament debated whether the crisis stemmed from border policy or failed security, but as they argued, the North counted its costs. New orders signed in London sent thousands more asylum seekers into an already volatile region without security funding or infrastructure. In Ballymena alone, councils faced bills exceeding £2 million a month. Anger turned to rebellion as Starmer's directive reached the streets. By nightfall, fires consumed hotels and barricades appeared across rural roads. The Home Office called it disorder, but in the eyes of the people, it was defiance. The following days unfolded like a chapter from history rewritten in real time. Police faced overwhelming crowds. Many were injured. Others laid down shields in protest, unable to reconcile orders with conscience. Videos of officers refusing to advance went viral, garnering millions of views before being deleted. A Belfast veteran's voice echoed through a smartphone screen, declaring that they once fought the IRA for their land and now fought their own government for it. That sentence became the anthem of a nation that felt silenced. As dawn broke over smoldering cars and cracked windows, the smoke cleared to reveal a deeper wound, the fracture between a government that governed and a people who no longer consented. Inside Number 10, the crisis's meetings grew frantic. Ministers exchanged instructions to contain the narrative, not the chaos. A directive circulated through major networks instructing editors to replace the word riot with disorder and to attribute unrest to misinformation. Yet the truth slipped through the cracks when a confidential operation known as Northlight was exposed. The leak revealed orders for mass content suppression, journalist watch lists, and emergency powers authorizing media control across the United Kingdom. When metadata confirmed the document's authenticity, Westminster's denial collapsed. A whistleblower from Belfast emerged with a single statement that would echo worldwide: "If the truth burns, let it burn everywhere." Within hours, Operation Northlight became a global story. Anchors vanished mid-broadcast, online platforms went dark, and protests turned from violence to silence. Citizens filled the streets carrying blank white signs, a symbol of censorship and defiance. Teachers suspended lessons, veterans inverted their medals, and even broadcasters refused to speak on air. The silence became louder than any chant when a single image appeared of a police officer removing his helmet and saluting the crowd, saying, "We serve the people, not the protocol." The clip surpassed 40 million views before removal. Copies flooded the internet faster than authorities could erase them. A nation long reliant on screens suddenly looked away from them and toward each other. Markets crashed, embassies withdrew staff, and the pound plunged to its lowest value in a decade. The Prime Minister addressed the nation with a trembling voice, blaming foreign interference, but the public no longer believed the excuses. His ministers began resigning one by one, leaving Parliament half empty and the streets full. Outside Westminster, hundreds of thousands stood in quiet formation, refusing to move. The government had not just lost control, it had lost legitimacy. By evening, the power in Number 10 flickered out, both symbolically and literally. The message from the people was unspoken yet unmistakable. The North had not fallen, it had awakened. In the days that followed, the movement evolved beyond protest into a peaceful march of unity. Veterans, miners, nurses, priests, and families walked side by side under grey skies and steady rain. There were no banners, no slogans, only flags folded in half, symbols of loyalty withheld. Convoys from Scotland and northern England brought food and blankets. Farmers cleared roads for marchers. It was not chaos, but coordination, born of shared exhaustion with distant rule. When the crowd reached Belfast, 500,000 strong, they stood in silence as the national anthem played. The familiar line, "Send her victorious," resonated differently that day, not as celebration, but as a solemn warning. Parliament met behind locked gates as public chants echoed through the capital, "Resign, answer now." The sound rolled through Westminster like thunder across old stone. The Home Secretary and Defence Minister resigned within hours. By nightfall, only a skeleton government remained, sheltering inside offices once seen as seats of power. At 9:27, the motion was read aloud. This House no longer recognizes the authority of the Prime Minister. Outside, applause erupted, not in celebration but in relief. The King's address followed, urging unity and reconciliation, but for many, it arrived too late. As night descended, Starmer's motorcade moved slowly through the rain. Windows blacked out, faces pale, no one jeered. The nation simply watched as the gates of Downing Street closed behind him. The streets were not filled with anger, but with something quieter, resolution. Britain had changed leadership without permission, without a vote, and without a word. The silence was not defeat, but deliverance. When dawn broke over the island, the fires had burned out, but their light remained. From Belfast to London, murals covered scars, candles flickered on wet pavement, and children asked their parents why the news had stopped showing the truth.